Well, now that we got the shit bombs out of the way, let's talk about those gems. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my end of the year list, and it is now time to talk about the best horror films of 2019, the ones that I'll actually cherish and continue to watch throughout the rest of my life, not those ones that I want to forget immediately that I've already discussed. If you have not seen that video, by the way, I'll post a little link up here, but you can also just search my channel if you want to later for top 5 worst horror films of 2019, and we could reminisce on those shit bombs. But now, the bad taste is out of our mouth. Time to talk about the good of 2019, the presents that 2019 gave us, these little horror-wrapped, blood-soaked gifts. And I have a very good list this year. Number 5, kicking it off right away, not wasting any time, is a movie that genuinely surprised me and came out of absolutely nowhere, and that is The Perfection. I don't know if this was necessarily a Netflix exclusive, it might be, but that's where I watched it, was Netflix. The Perfection is essentially a movie where you have this woman who used to be like this prestigious, goddess of music in this really prestigious school, and she's coming back as an adult to kind of see the new class, and she starts to have this relationship with the new goddess of music, the new prodigy, if you will. And from there on out, it just goes batshit insane over and over again. There is multiple twists in this film, and this is one of the very few films that can pull off multiple twists. Most films, when you watch it, they might nail one, maybe the second one's pretty good, but you start really pushing it when you have 3 twists or more, and it just starts to nosedive in the climax of the film. The Perfection is brilliant in my mind. It's very creepy, it's very out there and weird, it's genuinely disturbing in quite a few spots, and it's a movie that if you don't watch any trailers or anything like that, it will genuinely surprise you along the way, because the movie just goes so many different directions that you will not see coming. So number 5 for me, huge recommendation for The Perfection. Number 4 is going to be Ready or Not. This is a film with Samara Weaving, who I absolutely loved a couple of years ago in The Babysitter, and I really enjoyed her in Mayhem, which I think was 2 years ago, maybe last year. But this is a girl I've had my eye on. I think so far she's been awesome in the horror genre, and this is a film that just looked like it was going to be zany fun, and that's exactly what it was. It's a movie where you have this bride who essentially her in-laws play this little game because they have this pact with the devil, and if you get hide and seek as the game that you have to play that night, then they have to hunt you down with various weapons until you are dead. Otherwise, the devil ain't gonna be too happy. So it's a very fun, zany movie. It's blood-soaked. There's a lot of dark humor here, a lot of really fun characters. Samara Weaving is great in this one. I didn't love some of the places that it went, but overall it was still one of my best horror film experiences of the year, and it certainly has high rewatchability factor, which is really big for me. So Ready or Not, if you like a fun, zany experience, look no further. Number 3 is the sequel this year that I had the most worry for and probably walked away the happiest with as far as what my expectations were, and that is Zombieland Double Tap. Now, I absolutely loved the first Zombieland. I thought it was just this really fun, fresh experience in a genre that, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of to begin with, and second of all, this came out during the big Walking Dead craze, and there was a ton of different zombie films and zombie romance movies and zombie comedies, so it was just oversaturated. And Zombieland to me is probably the best of that entire era that it came out. You fast forward, what, like a decade or something like that? Long ass time, which is never a good sign for comedies because you got Dumb and Dumber 2, you got Zoolander 2, and ugh. Zombieland Double Tap is damn near as good as the first one. Not quite as good. There's certainly some side characters that just run their shtick into the ground, and some of the humor and the joy of the first one is recycled from the first one, like most sequels do, but it's a very fun movie. These characters and these actors just go right back into the shoes, and they feel exactly like they did in the first movie, and you just love seeing them together again. The story is fun, the zombie action is great. It was just a damn good sequel, and it's one of the more fun times that I've had in the theater in 2019. Number 2 for me is the movie that I had probably the biggest anticipation for this year and the most weighing on my shoulders to not suck, and that is Child's Play. Now, I know there's a lot of people that did not have a very good time with this movie. There's a lot of people that are not fans of it, and there's a lot of people that didn't even bother watching it. They just wanted to hate it anyway. Don't want to hear from them. Child's Play was genuinely surprising for me. It was a genuinely enjoyable horror film, and to me, as a Child's Play fanatic, as a huge fan of the original franchise, the original timeline, save for maybe 2 movies, I thought that this remake did a great job at holding on to the heart of Child's Play, holding on to what we love about Child's Play, but going in a very different direction, especially with Chucky, and doing it well. The design of the doll, by far the biggest thing that holds it back. If this had a genuinely awesome design of the doll, this movie might be my #1, but that is the one thing that just continuously holds it back for me, and if they ever do get a sequel, I hope they rectify that very quickly. But the gore, the kills, some of the best of the franchise. The relationship between Andy and Chucky, some of the best of the franchise, honestly. They go a very different direction as a genuine friendship, which you never got in the original movie, so it's just taking a remake in the way a remake should be and doing something unique with the premise. The characters were enjoyable for the most part, save for the friends, didn't really care for them. And it's just a movie that, to me, has a blast with its premise and does things that make a horror fan like me very happy. So I'm very pleasantly surprised with Child's Play this year, and it is my #2 best horror film of 2019. But my #1 for me is one of my biggest surprises of the year, and that is Dr. Sleep. This is a movie that was on my radar to a degree, but a sequel to The Shining, you know, an adaptation of a book that I never read, and a director, Mike Flanagan, that I've always liked what he's done, but never loved one of his films for various reasons, usually the climax. All a bunch of reasons why it never really jumped up to my most anticipated of the year. Until it got to the end of the year and I'm like, man, this has been a rough ass year for horror. Please, Mike Flanagan, bring it home. And my God, did he bring it home. Dr. Sleep is a fantastic sequel to The Shining, a movie that I really enjoy. And it's a movie that, I mean, it's the classic. You don't really need to say anything else about The Shining, but it is one of those movies that people would say never touch. Don't try to do a remake. Don't try to do a sequel. It's classic. It's perfect. Leave it alone. You get the Dr. Sleep, and it pays the perfect amount of homage and respect to not only the book, but also the film, which, if you know anything about Stephen King, he didn't really care for Stanley Kubrick's version of it. It pays respect to both of those, while going in a very different direction and telling a story that just is completely its own. There's nothing in here that's like The Shining 2. It's not like Haunted House. It's not like let's go back to the hotel again and there's ghosts once again. We have to go through the story all over again. It tells the story of Danny as an adult taking on this classic battle of good versus evil, where you have these people that are stealing all the powers from those that have the Shining and draining their life force, and you have Danny and this young girl that is very powerful with the Shining trying to take them on, and it's just a badass movie. There's some genuinely creepy stuff in here. Mike Flanagan's always good at doing that classic style of horror where you don't have just cheap jump scares, you have actual creepiness, you have tension, you have slow builds. It's shot great. When you finally get to the climax, it's a great climax for the story, but it's also fan service galore. I loved Dr. Sleep. I have a hard time believing that I'm not going to love this movie more every single time that I watch it. I know there's a director's cut coming that's like a half an hour longer. Cannot wait to watch that. By far, my best horror film of 2019. So what do you guys think? What are your top 5 best horror films of 2019? Let me know down in the comment section. Please give me some reasons, not just lists, so that I actually have some interesting stuff to read. Let me know down below, do you agree? Do you disagree with my list? Did I miss a huge one? If there's some really art house pretentious stuff, I'll direct you to my other video to show you what my movie taste is. Nonetheless, guys, please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber so you can check out the rest of my end of the year list, as well as all the reviews for most of these films and all of my other content that I'm sure you will enjoy. Check the video description down below for my social media links like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My Patreon page, which is a great way to give back to this channel, help this channel grow, and get cool exclusive content for your eyes only if you decide to become a patron. You can also scroll down below that and see all my merchandise, which is all designed by my buddy Woody Bowen. There's a lot of cool stuff down there, so check that out. And if you want to check out all of that juicy content that I just teased you with, you can check that out by clicking right over here.